What is up, fam? Agent O here, and I'm back doing reviews and just putting up content. I had a lot of time. I had to work on some computer issues I was having. My computer just crashed after a Windows update. I don't know what it was, and it just took me a while before I could figure out how to get everything back up and running again. And then on top of that, I had work. I had procrastination issues because I started playing Destiny again, and Destiny, to me, it's like that drug. I don't do drugs, but I imagine if Destiny was a drug, this is what it would be like if I was doing real, actual hardcore drugs, because Destiny is one of those things where I hate that I'm playing it all the time, but at the same time I'm having fun doing it. So I imagine that's what real life drugs would be, like real life drug addiction. So not to make light of that, but it is kind of funny. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm finally back. It's been a long time, and I should have never left you guys without some strong action figure reviews to step to. So I'm going to start off right here with the S.H.Figuarts Age of Ultron Thor figure, and I'm just going to jump right in. We can talk about the aesthetics, and right off the bat, I'm going to talk about the head sculpt of this guy. As soon as my camera focuses, if it will focus, there we go. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent head sculpt, I think. It doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, if that's what you're looking for. Sorry, but, that's kind of been the running theme of all these S.H.Figuarts Avengers Age of Ultron figures, is that, more than likely they didn't get the likeness rights to use their actual facial sculpts. But I think this is a pretty decent sculpt of his head. It looks like Thor, looks like a Norse god, as far as I can tell. I guess if you wanted to, you could see Chris Hemsworth in there. I don't know. I don't personally totally see it, but it does look like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Norse Viking dude. So it works for me. Plus, I like the hair sculpt on this guy. I mean, they really went in with the hair on this head. Moving on from that, the suit, as far as I can tell, looks pretty movie accurate. Really, I'm digging the boots, even though they're those knee-high hooker boots that I hate in comics. I hate seeing it, but somehow they pulled it off with this toy and with the costume design, and you've got the cape. I'm going to remove the cape for now. I'm going to get to that in a little bit, as the review goes on. I just want to give you guys a whole 360 turn of the costume design and all the details. I mean, it actually looks like he's wearing layers, and I do like all the just all the details. You can see like the rivets and the seams and the bolts in there and divots in the circular armor. It just looks really well done, and I like the lighter, more chromatic blue that they use. It's not overpowering. It's they use it in accents basically, and it helps break up that neutral grayish blue figure that the rest of the suit has. Dig in the chainmail on the thighs, and once again the detail on these boots. It looks like they're armored and everything. It just looks right. But they actually got the knee-high look to actually look right on an action figure, because in the comics, whenever you'd see Thor with those knee-high boots, I used to just be like, man, what are they doing? Even the gauntlets have detail, and I noticed, they didn't do the chainmail. He didn't wear the chainmail pieces like in the first Thor film, and I think also in the first Avengers movie he had the chainmail. I like the chainmail. I also like the helmet. I kind of wish, even though he didn't have a helmet in the Age of Ultron movie, I kind of wish they had included an extra head with the helmet on, because I like that winged helmet, or winged helmet. That's just me. I wish they had put that in there, but I mean, I really have no complaints with the look of this guy. He looks good. He looks like Thor. Straight out of the movies. I have nothing to really point out that sticks out. I mean, you've got some folds in there, and I mean, I don't know. It looks proper. So I'm just gonna jump right to the fucking articulation of this guy. Now, you know, I said earlier I like the head sculpt and I like the head overall, but the head hinders the articulation of the neck. You can't really, this is about as far as you're going to get his head to go back, because like if you go back any farther, it starts to split apart because of the eye pieces that they have included to go with this head. It's kind of like the gimmick they've been doing with these S.H.Figuarts, and I'm not sure what other S.H.Figuart toys or characters they've used the googly eye thing, that I call it the googly eye effect. I don't know, because usually they just have a whole face plate that you can switch out, but in this case it's like half the head, you switch it out and then you put in the other piece. I won't do it right now, just because, but you know, you can rotate his head. It does go 360. His neck is at the base of the chest. It is on a ball joint, so he can bend down. He just can't look up very far, and this would have been where that second head with the winged helmet would have came into play, because I think they could have reduced the hair and the helmet, and the, you know, you could have made it look like most of the hair is up under the helmet, and that way you could have had a head where you could tilt his head back if you want him doing flying poses or whatnot. You know, it would have worked in that sense, but you know, they didn't do it. This is what we got. Moving on to the shoulder articulation, he doesn't have much of a bicep swivel. He has like literally none. Like this is it. Unless I pull out his butterfly joints, which he's got a lot of range on that. Kind of reminds me of the old Toy Biz Marvel Legends figures with their butterfly joints that gave them a lot of, which came out pretty far, but for some reason, even though they came out really far, it doesn't seem like they had as much range as this. I think this, the butterfly joints were supposed to make up for the lack of a bicep swivel. I guess they just didn't want to break up the musculature on the arms, on the upper part of the arms. But I kind of wish they had, just because I like a bicep swivel more than you know. I mean, I like a bicep swivel at the bicep and the deltoid where they meet up in this area, and I kind of wish they had done that anyway. I would have been cool with that. But moving on, he does have double jointed elbows, and you've got way more than a 90-degree you know, bend on that. And he does have a forearm swivel at the gauntlet, so it's kind of nice and hidden with that gauntlet piece. And his hands are on a ball swivel, so they do bend in, and they do rotate, you know, all the way around, and they, you know, they pop off and all that. And you know, the biggest problem I have with this figure and articulation wise is in the chest area, the torso area. As you can see in the back, he does have an upper torso and a lower torso, you know, and he does have a hip swivel, but you can't really get a whole lot of, you know, he bends back pretty far. That's pretty decent, but you can't bend him forward too far. If you know, he doesn't bend that far forward anyway. Like this is pretty much about it. Like I can get him to bend a little bit more, but I don't like pressing too much, putting too much pressure. And even though he does have see how that just popped off right there? I barely turned his hips and that piece popped off. That's my biggest gripe with this figure. It can pop on. It's designed to dislocate and come off, but it doesn't give you a whole lot of twisting motion. I'm not saying he needs to be able to twist 360 degrees, but I really would like to be able to twist him and, you know, kind of, you know, make him crouch a little bit for some action poses, and this kind of is hindered because of that, and that's really unfortunate, because I think that really takes away from the fun factor of these toys. Oh, also forgot to mention, you know, the arms do open up. It's not completely parallel, but it is pretty far, so there is some limitation there. I forgot to mention that, but no, now you know. No one is half the battle. So moving on, He does have those type 1 hip joints where you can pull the hip down to get more extension, to get more leg extension, and this is about, this is about as far as he spreads out, for kicks and stuff. So, and Thor's not really a kicker anyway, but that's pretty good range, especially when you have a character that doesn't do kicks, isn't really a martial artist. He's more of a brawler and a weapon fighter since he's got his hammer. There is, you can't really see because of the skirt piece, but he does have thigh swivel, which is built into the hip swivel, so you get that much range of motion on there. It's not too bad either. It's got double jointed knees. It's a little bit more than a 90-degree bend. And he has ankle articulation. You can go all the way around. You can tilt back and forth, as you can see, and he's got toe point. So, articulation on the lower half is fine. On the torso and the shoulders, not so fine. Not fine at all, especially since Figuarts are supposed to be known for their articulation, and that's kind of like their thing, is to make their figures superposable and being able to do almost any pose that a human body can do. That's kind of their claim to fame. And so it's unfortunate that this figure doesn't quite match up to that. There were earlier Figuart toys that were lacking in the articulation department, but they've since have refined their craft, and they've gotten really good at making their figures superposable. But for some reason they failed with this guy. I don't know what it is. It's unfortunate, but hopefully from moving on, they learn from their mistakes. So it seems like they experimented with this line, honestly, since they knew these figures were going to go flying off the shelves because of the Avengers brand and the Marvel brand. They kind of took the opportunity to play around with some of their articulation ideas with these particular figures, and it kind of shows, because I've seen them do some things that I'd never seen them do on another S.H.Figuart. But that's that it is what it is. So anyway, moving on, I'm going to move on to the accessories, and obviously he doesn't come with much. He comes with Mjolnir, obviously, and Mjolnir looks really, really damn good. I'm going to take it off. All you got to do is pop off the hammerhead and then just slide the handle off, and then you just pop it back on. It's just on a peg. And I really like the sculpt of this. It looks like they captured the way it appears in the current movies perfectly. Even the little handle strap, it's pretty bendy, even though you don't use it for anything. The actual handle itself is painted silver and brown, and as you can see all the little detail in there in the sculpt, and even on top you can see that Norse writing, I'm guessing it is, and I'm guessing it probably has the inscription of whoever be worthy can wield the power or the hammer of Thor and bash things or whatever. It's on there, and they captured it nicely. So it's a nice little accessory. He also comes with a throwing hand where so you can do the flying poses, as opposed to just him having the hammer. And once again, you just pop the head off of the hammer and pop it back on. You can put it on his hand. But like I said earlier, even though he has this accessory and it's cool and I like it, it works, it's very functional. It's really easy to get on and off the figure, and I love when they make it easy. But it's unfortunate because you can't bend his head to look up that far to get those flying poses like you would. But I'm pretty sure if you finagle with it enough, you'll be able to figure it out. One thing though that he didn't come with that I really wish he came with is a lightning effect piece for the hammer. He really needed that with this toy, and he doesn't have that, and that's unfortunate. He really needed that lightning effect. I ended up getting some lightning effect piece that Figuarts had made on sale. They had a sale on Hobby Search, and I ended up getting it for like I think $10 or something like that. It was like a little over $10. So I can't wait for it to come in the mail, and I'm gonna definitely use it on my Thor. I'm gonna use parts of it, or a couple pieces, 1 or 2 pieces, whatever I can fit on the hammer or whatever. I'm gonna definitely use that for Thor, and maybe whatever other figures that use that would need a lightning effect. But he really needed something, just something to go over the hammer, so you can have those poses where he's raising the hammer up in the air like he's calling down lightning, and you can, it just would make the figure look that much cooler. So anyway, the other accessory he comes with is this cape, and you may have seen the cape or a cape like this on some of the other S.H.Figuarts toys, like the S.H.Figuarts Injustice, Gods Among Us, Batman, and Superman. They both have a cape that's structured pretty much the same way. It's 3 pieces. They do detach, and they just peg in and peg out, and they are articulated. The ends are, you've got swivel, and both sides swivel, and they swivel up and down, and this also, the peg part swivels too, so you can angle it however you like, and it's serviceable. I'm not a huge fan of this. I still like cloth capes, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of the plastic capes, but they're trying with this. This is better than what you would get on like a DCUC or a Marvel Legends cape, where like a Marvel Legends cape would be just the first piece. It'd be just this and nothing else. So at least they're trying to do a little something different with this. But like I said, I still would prefer a cloth cape, or maybe I've seen some people do custom capes where they use umbrella material, the material that is used on an umbrella. I've seen that on a few Batman toys, and that looks really, really damn good. So I think they should definitely look into doing colored, base colored capes that with that kind of umbrella-like material. I think that would go really well with the plastic of the regular action figure. But like I said, they did try with this cape. It's got a really light wash on it, and the folds look really good on it too. But you can see where the shadows are. There's like a wash, like a darker wash. My camera's not picking it up all that well because of the lighting, but wherever there's shadow, that's a wash. So it's nice and subtle. It's not overpowering like some of the customizers really go crazy with the dry brush and all that. So I like it. It's like I said, it does its job. It's just not, you can only do so much with hard plastic. It's not very heavy either. Oops, that piece just doesn't want to stay on. But it's not. I like that it's not very heavy, so it's not weighing down the figure. And the fact that you can spread it out does help with posing, because you can, if you have the character in certain funky poses where the toy just wouldn't be able to support its own weight, you can use the cape to kind of compensate for that. And that is one of the other things that I think this cape is really good for, is doing just that. So you can have it spread out, or you can have it constricted in, either for when he's just standing. When he's flying, you can pull out one side maybe. It works. It's not bad. I think it's just a matter of preference, honestly. He also has hands, as all S.H.Figuarts toys do. I just didn't get them out of the box. Sorry, I'm unprepared. I'm a little rusty, as you can see. He has a closed fist hands. He actually comes with 3 closed fist hands. Oh no, I'm sorry. He comes with 2 closed fist hands. He has another open hand holding hand for the actually, hold on, let me move him out of the way so that my camera can focus, because it's doing too much. So he has the gripping hands for the hammer. He has another closed fist. You know, decent sculpt. There's no paint or anything on him because it's not necessary. And he has some open hands, which look good. I really like the pose they're in. It's pretty natural looking. And yeah, you know, just good sculpting overall. Nothing really to write home there about. And of course, he has 3 sets of eyes. The other set's in his head. I'm not going to take him out, but you know, he has, I think these eyes look to the left, so they're looking that way, and these ones, I want to say, are looking to the right, going that way. So yeah, he has these. I see what they did with this idea. I don't really think it's that great. I think they should just use the switchable face plates, honestly. But I get it. This is less painting that you have to do. It's a bit more plastic, but it's less painting. So I see why they did what they did. But that's pretty much gonna do it for this figure. I've talked a lot, and honestly, I have to say, out of all the Age of Ultron figures that Figuarts has released, I think this is the weakest one. He's the weakest link, and that's funny because he's the strongest character in the on the team. But you know, next to the Hulk. But you know, he's construction wise, engineering wise, I think he's the weakest one, just because of this torso. I can't forgive, you know, the lack of articulation in the torso and in the shoulders. Even with the butterfly joints, you know, it helps some, but you know, and then the lack of, you know, raising the arms. Also, this just must be a QC thing. I've got pictures of it, but that ball joint, that ball swivel joint in the arm, you can see it's a little discolored, like the blue is showing through the flesh tone paint or something. I've got better pictures of it. I'll make sure I put that in the video. But yeah, I mean, he's a good looking figure. He'll look good with your Avengers, you know, stand-in or in some action poses. You know, it's not terrible. Like, it's still better than Marvel Legends. But as far as S.H.Figuarts, because you know, you guys, I'm always on all my Figuarts videos, I'm always hyping them up. I'm always talking about how good S.H.Figuarts is with their figures and their accuracy and their posability, and this one just doesn't cut it compared to the other ones. Like, if I had to rate all these guys, I would say Captain America is the best figure out of this line. Then I would say Iron Man, then Hulk, and then Thor. And then I would also count, I guess you could count the Mark II War Machine, even though it's, sorry, my camera cut out on me. I guess I had filled the memory card because I got a bunch of photos and I had another video on there. But as I was saying about the War Machine, the Mark II War Machine, it's a repaint of the Iron Man 3 Iron Patriot. So I mean, you can count that too if you want to, since it's supposed to fit in line with these guys. But like I said, I would not pay full price for this guy. You know, I would especially not pay the Big Bad Toy Store, you know, scalper prices that they're charging on that site. If you can find this guy cheap, I suggest you shop online and look and find a site that still has this guy in stock. Because I looked today. Today is December the 15th. Excuse me. And I looked and I found this guy online still. I know he sold out on all the major sites, but like I said, if you shop around and look, you can find this guy still. I even found the Mark 43 or Mark 45, 46, 47. I don't know what number Iron Man's on right now, but it's the suit. It's the nice looking streamlined suit that I reviewed. I found that online still. The only guy I haven't been able to find is Cap. Cap is just completely sold out. And, you know, that's, you know, And like I said, he's the best figure. So anyway, that's going to do it for this review. I got nothing else to add. Catch me on the Iron Man War Machine Mark II review. It's coming up soon. I'm out. I'm Agent O, and I'm out. Peace.